Hello and welcome everybody to Yoga and Meditation Online. My name is Jane Stimson. I'm a librarian with the Harris County Public Library LSC Cy-Fair branch. I usually teach yoga twice a week in our library, but since we have been closed, we're coming to you from my living room. So our next class is going to be in 2 weeks' time, same date, August 13th. We will have a fall schedule of classes. I'm still finalizing those dates. So if you are not already on my yoga mailing list, you can email me at jane.stimson@lonestar.edu or head to cyflib.info/yoga. You can see all our classes there, and you can email me from there for the waiting list, for the email list as well. All right, so let's get started. Hop onto your mat. Our theme for class this evening is going to be sort of heart and chest openers. So poses that allow us to open up the chest and lead with the heart into our poses. We're going to start and end with a brief sit as usual before we head into our final rest pose. So go ahead and take a comfortable seat on your mat, whatever that means for you this evening. Maybe it's a cross-legged sit. Maybe it's legs straight out in front of you. Maybe it's kneeling. Whatever feels best for you and your body this evening, just go ahead and take a moment. Get really comfortable in your sit. And now that we're here, let's start to transition into this time and this space of our practice with a few cleansing breaths. So take a deep inhale in through your nose. And then open your mouth and sigh it out. Let's do 2 more like that. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale and sigh. Last one, inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh. And then close the mouth and inhale and exhale through the nose. And just take a moment to sit tall, feeling the earth beneath you. Hands can rest palm down on the in-breaths and out-breaths together with a little pause in between. So when you're ready, go ahead and exhale everything. And then starting with a deep belly breath, inhale. Hold, pause at the top of your inhale, and exhale, slow. Good. Pause at the bottom of the exhale, and then start to fill up slowly again, inhaling. Pause, and exhale, slow, like you're emptying a balloon. Pause at the bottom. We'll take a few more rounds. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Hold on empty. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. One last round, deep inhale. Make it your deepest inhale yet. Filling all the way up with breath. And hold it at the top and try and sip in just a little bit more air. And now slow, steady exhale, exhale, let it all go. All right. Closing the eyes, bringing the palms together in front of your heart, bowing the head, and drop the hands, and gently blink the eyes open and come back center. All right. If you need to adjust your sit, adjust it. We'll only be here for just a couple more moments. Go ahead and take some neck rolls all the way in one direction. And then switch, neck roll in the other direction. Come back to center. On your next inhale, stretch your arms up overhead. And on your exhale, bend the elbows as you lower the arms, squeezing the shoulder blades together. It's one of my very favorite stretches. We're going to do it a couple more times. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze, and really feel the chest start to opening and rounding here. Good. Okay, last one. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze like you could hold a broomstick between your shoulder blades. Feeling the heart broad and round. And exhale, release. Nice. Come on to hands and knees. And just start out by just stirring your own pot, right? So just moving in a way that feels good for you this evening. We're going to come into cat-cow in a second, so just know that. Maybe moving hips and shoulders in opposite directions. Maybe circling the hips a little bit. Stretching out the neck. It also feels nice sometimes here to reverse the direction of your fingers. Get a little bit of a wrist stretch, not too much, be careful. So just taking a little bit of movement that feels good for you and your body this evening. Then eventually, your wrists are reversed, turn them around so fingers facing the front of the mat. And eventually making your way back into your tabletop position. So everything's squared off, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Neutral spine to start. And on our inhale, we're going to drop the belly. We're going to look up for cow. And on the exhale, we round the back and tuck the chin to the chest for cat. Okay, good. We're going to take several more rounds here. Dropping the belly, letting the chest come through for cat. Exhaling, rounding the chest, hollowing it, tucking it. Continue on with your own breath and your own time in cat-cow, so you don't have to follow my rhythm necessarily. As we take several more rounds of cat-cow, I want you to think about leading with your heart here. So picture what your heart is doing in these poses, right? In cow, it's shining through and forward. And as you round into cat, you're tucking it, you're nestling it and protecting it under that rounded spine. So with our last couple rounds, just think about the movement of cat and cow as leading with the heart here. Sometimes it's a way to make a really familiar pose we do literally every class. Feel a little bit. All right, take one last complete round here. After your next cat, go ahead and I want you to scoot yourself all the way back to the back of your mat. You'll see why in a second. And take a child's pose. So sitting back on the heels, knees together, knees wide, your choice. And arms straight out long, forehead resting down. Now we're going to come into a little bit of a low flow to warm up here. So on your next inhale and rise off your heels, come into a tabletop. And then on your exhale, lower the thighs, the hips, the belly, the chest, all the way down to the mat. You need to reset the hands underneath your shoulders. Do that. We're coming into a teeny tiny little low cobra. So pressing into the mat with the tops of your feet and your hands. Hug the elbows in. Lift the chest off the mat just a tiny, tiny bit. We're not going hard and right yet. Good. And then on your exhale, we're going to push it all the way back to child's pose. Good. Let's do that again a couple more times. Inhale, come forward to tabletop. Exhale, lower down to the belly. Inhale, teeny little cobra. And on our exhale, pushing back to child's pose. Last time, inhaling forward to tabletop. Exhale. Going down to the belly. Inhale, elbows hug in, press into the hands and feet, tiny cobra. And exhale all the way back to child's pose. All right, we're going to transition up to a stance. So when you're ready, look forward at your hands, make sure they're about shoulder width apart, fingertips are spread wide, and then come off the heels, tuck the toes, lift the knees and the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Just go ahead while we're here, just maybe bend one knee at a time. Start to stretching into the hamstring. And then when you're ready, no rushing. Slowly start to walk your feet towards your hands. When you get there, feet can stay shoulder width or hips width apart. Knees can be really bent here. You can grab opposite elbow and just gently sway from side to side. If you want to try something different from the elbow, hold up. Top half of our body is just relaxing down. So the head, the neck is relaxed in our forward folds. Everything from the low back is just relaxed and spilling out. Heart folding in towards our thighs. And then again, slowly taking your time, start to roll up one vertebrae at a time. And then when you get there, roll the shoulders back. Nice. We're in our standing pose. Now, before we start our standing series of poses, we're going to practice a breath called the expansive breath. It's a great sort of heart, chest-centered breath, and it's a way to get some energy in our body for our next standing series. So here's what it's going to look like in an expansive breath. You can just watch me for the first one. Feet can be hips width apart or together. I prefer hips width apart, your choice. We're going to be inhaling and exhaling through the mouth, a little bit different for yogic breath. So what we're going to be doing on our inhales is spreading our arms out wide, palms face up, look up, inhale through the mouth. And then on our exhale, we're going to bring our arms back together, bring the hands into a prayer position, palms touching as we fold. And we're also going to be exhaling through the mouth. As we come up. Good. Now, if you feel like it's too much for you to bend and fold all the way down, you don't have to fold all the way down. You can just take it, bring your hands to chest center. You don't actually have to do the fold forward. You can just do the exhale standing. So it's your choice. All right, so let's set our feet up about hips width apart. Hands resting by our sides. Inhale through the mouth, look up, spread the arms wide. Exhale through the mouth, fold hands in prayer. Inhale, come up, arms spread wide. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold. Continue to take a few more rounds with your own time and your own breath, so you don't have to follow my rhythm. Inhaling and exhaling through the mouth. And again, thinking here about letting the heart doing the leading. So as we come up for the inhale, chest is lifting to the sky and open. And then as we bow the chest on our exhale, we tuck the heart in towards the thighs. Good. A couple more rounds. Inhale. Exhale and fold. If you want to make that little sighing sound, it's a nice way to release tension too. Good. Inhale, come up one more time, spread wide. And then exhale, release the arms. Nice. All right, return to your normal rhythm of breath in and out through your nose. If you found that got your throat a little bit parched through all that breathing through your mouth, go ahead and grab a drink of water if you need it. And then when you're ready, meet me back up at the top of your mat. We're going to start our standing series. So we'll start in mountain pose. We'll take a few half salutations as usual to link breath with movement and then turn it into something. So take a moment and get your feet set really strong. Maybe take a minute, look down at your toes and lift all 10 toes off the mat. Feel the four corners of your feet. And then set them down again. Shoulders roll back, tailbone slightly tucked. Mountain pose. Now on your ready, exhale everything. And then inhale, the arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees, we fold forward. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift the back halfway, look forward. Exhale, rebend the knees, refold. And inhale, rise all the way to a stand, reaching, pressing into the earth with the feet. Exhale, release. Let's take a couple more. Same thing, think about leading with your heart here. Inhale, arms and chest rise. Exhale, bending the knees, heart forward into the thighs. Inhale, hands to the shins, heart lifts away and up. Exhale, refold. And inhale, arms rise. Exhale, return. All right, we'll start to turn this into a little bit more of a flow with some standing poses. So reset your mountain pose. And when you're ready, exhale everything. Inhale, the arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, refold, and as you do, right foot steps back, left foot stays where it is, right knee comes down to the mat. Now, you can leave those right toes tucked, or you can bring the top of the foot to the mat. It's your choice. I find it a little bit easier for balance to tuck my toes, so I'm going to keep it tucked. All right, first one hand and then the other on top of your left thigh. Take a moment and make sure that this front shin is vertical. Front knee is pointing out over left toes. Now, you can stay right here. This is a great way to balance, right? Make sure heart is centered forward and open. Or if you want a little bit more movement in this, a little bit more of a balance challenge, I want you to bend your elbows so that the palms are facing you and bring the forearms together. And we're going to open and close a few times. So on your inhale, open, let the chest be broad. Exhale, close. You can see it's a balance challenge. I just wobbled. Inhale, open. All right. Wobbling's part of the practice. Exhale, close. Last time. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. And then everyone is going to bring hands down to either side of that front foot. If your back toe isn't already tucked, tuck it. Come off the back knee and step that front foot back so that you're in downward facing dog. We're going to take just a breath here. The right foot forward between your hands. Left knee comes to the mat. Take a second. Bring both hands to the top of the knee. And exhale, hands down to either side. Come off the back knee and step forward. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, refold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands return to your sides. All right, so that was just one side. Let's grab the other side now. Take a moment, reset your mountain pose. And when you're ready, inhale, arms will rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to shins, lift halfway. Exhale, left foot stays, steps back, right foot stays where it is. Left knee to the mat. Keep the toes tucked. Bring one and then the other hand on top of that right thigh, making sure right shin is vertical. Now remember, you can stay right here, You can lift your arms up by your ears and stay there. Or if you want to bring a little bit more movement to this pose, bend the elbows, palms face you. We're in goal. We'll call this goal post arms. Find your balance. And then when you're ready, inhale, open the arms. Chest is broad and wide. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. You can pretend like there's a little bit of resistance. Inhale, open. As you close, right? Also a little strength. Next. Hands down to either side of the front foot, everybody. Everybody come off that back knee, step the front foot back to meet the back one. We're in downward facing dog. Just a breath or two here. Good, and then inhale where you are. Exhale, left foot steps forward between the hands, right knee to the mat. And remember, if you step forward and your foot doesn't quite make it all the way, totally fine to take several steps forward and use your hand to help you, right? All right. Just for a moment, coming up into the crescent moon lunge on this side. And then exhaling, hands down to either side of the front foot, coming off the back knee, step forward. On your next inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, refold. And inhale, rise to a seat. Exhale, hands return. Nice. All right. Before we start our next little one, we're just going to take some nice barrel rolls to roll the hips out. Take a moment to get feet about hips width apart, maybe a little bit wider. And all we're going to do, the image we use, we pretend like we're standing in a barrel, and there's a sponge all the way around our hips. And we're just going to clean the inside of the barrel with that sponge. Barrel rolling in one direction. And then head on and barrel roll in the other direction. All right, come to a stillness. Retake your mountain pose at the front of the mat. Tailbone tucked. Shoulder blades melting down the back. Gaze straight ahead. Exhale everything. And then inhale, arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold. Right foot takes a big step back. Left foot stays where it is. Bring the right heel to the mat. And then stand up with the hands to the hips, right? We'll set up our warrior one, making sure this front shin is vertical, knee pointing directly out over those toes. And take a second now, look at your back foot. Make sure the back foot is coming in sort of about 45 degrees or so. So pointing off towards the side or the front of your mat. And if you need to make your stance a little wider or a little shorter because your balance is off today, go for it. All right. So hands to the hips. Take a moment and square the hips to the front of the mat. So moving the left hip back, moving the right hip forward a little bit. And now we'll be at that bottom half of the body set. We're going to extend the spine, feel our torso growing long, our chest growing broad. And then we're going to lift the arms up by the ears. Warrior one. Now, if this arm position, you're just not feeling it, you can bend the elbows and do goalpost arms in warrior one. Totally a great way to practice, especially if you have any sort of shoulder injuries going on. We'll be here for a couple more breaths, so we can even take that goalpost arm movement if you feel like it. If you do, bring the arms together. And then inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Last time, inhale, open. Exhale, close. Good. Everybody bring the hands to the hips. And then bring both hands down to the inside of the left foot. We're going to do something called a downward facing dog lunge. So our feet are going to stay exactly as they are in our lunge position, but we're going to walk our hands off to the right, steps in the way, We're going to walk our hands off to the right, probably off our mat, and pretend like our arms are doing downward facing dog while our lower body is in a lunge. So having the palms flat on the floor if we can, fingers are spread wide, shoulders away from the ears so we're not hunching up. Downward facing dog lunge. Very nice. Good. And then slowly come out, walk the hands back to either side of that front foot, come off the back heel. Plant the palms and step the front foot back to meet the back one, downward facing dog. Heels driving down towards the mat. Hips up into the back of the room. We're trying to put more weight into the legs. Good. Inhale where you are. Exhale, right foot steps forward between the hands. Just take a breath in a runner's lunge. And then exhale, left foot steps forward to meet the right. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold. And inhale, press the feet into the earth to help you rise to a stand. Exhale, hands release. Good deal. Let's take the other side up. Reset your mountain pose. Feet together or just slightly apart. A little bit different for everybody. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, left foot steps back. Left heel pivots to the mat. Bring the hands to the hips just for a second as we check our warrior one legs. Front shin vertical. Back foot in 45 degrees. Hands on the hips, just try and square those hips up a little bit more to the front of the room. You might find it's a little bit more difficult on one side than the other. Okay. You can stay here, but take with your hands, or you can lift them up around on either side of your ears. Make sure shoulders are away from the ears. Or you can go closed arms. And if you want to take that little movement, right, bring the elbows together, and then inhale, open. Exhale, close. Right, everyone else just hanging out in whatever arm position you chose. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Last time, inhale, open. Exhale, close. And then everybody release hands down to the inside of that front foot. You want to walk the front foot out a little bit to the right. You can do that. And then we're going to walk the hands sort of diagonally away from us off the mat towards the left corner. And we're going to then drop the head and neck and relax like our top half of our body is in downward facing dog and the bottom half of our body is in warrior one. Downward dog one. Go ahead and walk the hands back to either side of the front foot. Come off the back heel. And then plant the hands. Hands are about shoulder width apart. Step the front foot back into our downward facing dog. Breath or two here. Good. Inhale. Exhale, left foot steps forward between the hands. We're just taking a breath here in our runner's lunge. Back heel drives back. And then exhale, back foot steps forward to meet the front. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, press your feet into the earth to help you rise. Exhale, release the arms. Nice. All right, so we're going to come into a little teeny standing back bend before we take our last kind of standing series and balance. So go ahead and bring your feet about hips width apart, maybe a little bit wider if you want, but hip width apart at least. And I'm actually going to turn to the side here so you can see this. Bring your hands to your low back, really the sacrum, right? That sort of flat, bony plane that's underneath your lumbar spine. So bring hands to the sacrum, fingertips pointing down, And take a second, roll the shoulders back so they travel away from your ears, and hug the elbows in together if you can. It doesn't have to be crazy. They probably won't touch, but just hugging them in together. All right. Inch the upper back. And you don't have to back bend super far. Now your neck can go back with you and look up, or if it's too much on your neck, you can just look forward. Just a couple of breaths here in this standing back bend. Nothing crazy. Really feeling your heart shining out, shining up. Good. One more deep breath here. And then exhale very, very slowly, 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 slowly. Release that. All right. Come back to the top of your mat. Feet are hips width apart. Roll the shoulders back and clasp your hands behind your back, sort of pulling the hands down towards the mat. Inhale, get tall. And then exhale, bend the knees and gently fold. So knees can be really, really bent here. And those clasped hands are reaching up to the ceiling. Staying in that fold for just a couple of breaths. And then on your next inhale, lift halfway to flat back. And then exhale, release the clasp of your hands and fold all the way back in. And then taking your time, start to roll up to a stand. Good. You get there, roll the shoulders back. All right. We have one last little salutation standing pose series. And then we're going to take a nice standing balance pose. And we're going to bring it all down to the mat and hang out. All right. So just a little bit of heat left. Take your mountain pose at the top of the mat. Roll the shoulders back. All right. When you're ready, inhale, arms will rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, fold, right foot takes a big step back, left foot stays where it is, and pivot the right heel down towards the mat. We're going to come up into that warrior one pose again. And we're not going to bring movement to this, just a static warrior one. So arms can be up by our ears, or you can goal post it, whatever you felt best in your shoulders. Okay, just taking a couple breaths here in our warrior one. Trying to square the hips to the front of the room. Letting the heart and chest feel. Proud upper body, proud chest. Take one last deep inhale here. And then on your exhale, release the arms behind you and clasp the hands behind you like we just did in that standing forward fold. You can stay right here. You don't have to fold and do this next thing. Or inhale where you are, arch back just a little bit. And then on your exhale, fold so that your left shoulder comes to the inside of the left knee. Clasp hands, reach towards the ceiling. This is humble warrior. Good, one last inhale here. And then on your exhale, we're going to come back up to warrior one. Don't worry if you need to like grab onto the floor or things to help yourself back up. That's all right. Good. And then straighten into that front knee. Turn the back toes so they're facing the side of your mat. We're going to come into a triangle from here. So front toes point forward, back toes point out. Arms are parallel to the floor, looking out over the left fingertips for just a moment. And then reach with the left hand, kick the right hip back. If you can't reach anymore, bring that left hand wherever it wants to be. Maybe it's shin, foot, floor. Taking a nice triangle pose here, right arm reaching for the ceiling. Good. Inhale. And then on your next exhale, look down at that front knee, gently bend into the front knee. Hands down to either side of the front foot, come off the back toes. We're actually going to come down to our belly now. So bring the back knee down, front knee meets it, and lower all the way down onto the belly. Hands underneath the shoulders, tops of the feet into the earth. Hug the elbows into your sides. We're going to take a full cobra now. Press into your hands and your feet. Peel the heart off the mat. A nice cobra pose. Excellent. Good. And lower down. Push back into tabletop. And then tuck the toes, lift the knees and the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Deep inhale here. On your exhale, step the right foot in between your hands. Take an inhale in the lunge. Exhale, left foot steps forward to meet it. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, hold. And inhale, rise to a stand. Exhale, return. All right, we're just going to finish that out with the other side. We're going to take standing balance, and then we'll bring it all down to stretch it out and relax. So take your mountain pose. When you're ready, inhale, arms will rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold, left foot steps back, left heel down. Rising right up into our warrior one from here. Knowing that we can keep arms by our ears, we can bend the elbows, and if even that doesn't feel very stable, we can always keep hands on hips, right? Whatever you want to do. Just taking a few breaths here in our warrior one, trying to square up the hips, trying to let the chest be open and lifted. For a little bit more lift and a little bit more balanced challenge, you can bring the palms to touch and try and lift your gaze towards your thumbs as you sink deeper into that front knee. All right, wherever you've decided to be with your arms, take one last inhale here. And then exhale, release the arms, clasp the hands behind you, clasp them the other way this time, the way that feels weird and not natural. Do both sides. Inhale, arch back just a little bit. And then exhale, fold forward, bringing the right shoulder inside the right knee. You could always just stay up without folding if you wanted to. Or you could fold over the thigh or to whatever degree you want. Humble warrior. Just letting my head and neck really release here. No gripping in the face or the temples. All right, and then when you're ready, come on back up to that warrior one. Oh, it's hard, it's a lot of core work. And then we're going to change our feet position. You bring hands to the hips for a second. Turn the back toes so they're facing to the side of the mat, and then straighten into that front leg. That probably feels pretty good. Arms parallel to the mat. And then reach to the right, hip goes back, hip back. And then lower that right hand. Wherever it is, it should be stable enough. If you press into that right hand, you're just going to feel the left side of that chest open. Left arm hand reaches for the sky, triangle pose. Good. Inhale. On your exhale, bring the top hand to the hip. Gently bend into that front knee. And then we'll bring hands to either side of the front foot. Come off the back heel. Plant the hands, step back. Want to relax downward facing dog. And then bring both knees down, lower all the way down to the belly. Inhale, cobra. And then exhale, push yourself all the way back to a child's pose. Take a little. Now, you can stay in child's pose if you like, or if you would like a little bit of a nice shoulder release and chest opener. I want you to come off the heels. Make sure knees are about hips width apart. And I, again, find it easier to balance in this with my toes tucked rather than the top of my feet on the floor, but it's up to you. So the back half of our body is going to be in a tabletop position. And then we're just going to walk our hands out as far as we can. It might come off your mat until the forehead can lower down to the mat. And if the forehead doesn't come down to the mat, that's okay. It can just kind of hang out in space, or maybe you could grab a block or a book to rest it on. And this is puppy pose or heart melting pose. Because as we're here, you should be feeling a nice stretch on the outside of the shoulders. We also want to feel that heart just sort of relaxing down towards the mat. Be a relaxing pose. A few more breaths here in puppy. And then as you're ready, slowly start to walk the hands back in. When they're almost underneath your shoulders, tuck the toes, lift the knees and the hips up and back. This one's our last downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here. One more inhale. On your exhale, step the left foot forward between the hands. We're coming out the way we went in. Take a breath here in the lunge. And then exhale, right foot steps forward to meet the left. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, reach forward. And then inhale, rise all the way to a stand. Exhale, release. Nice job. That was a trick. All right, so we've got one last standing pose, and that is a balance pose, dancer pose. So take a second right now. If you feel like you need to get something to help your balance, grab a chair, grab a family member, maybe get next to a wall or something where you can still see me, right? So whatever you're doing, bring that thing that you're balancing with, either your chair or your wall, make it on your left side. And then take a stand. Try and put as much weight as possible into this left foot. Bend the right knee so that just the toe is resting on the mat. Now, you can stay right here. This is a great way to practice dance. You don't have to lift this right foot off the mat. If you do, though, want a little bit more, you can bring your right arm out to the side like you're about to hold something. And then here's where the balance comes in. So here's where you want to hold on to something. Bend that right knee and grab hold of the right foot. Whoops. Okay. If you haven't already, choose a spot in front of you you can look at to balance and focus on. All right. So we're going to be folding forward in just a moment, but I want you to make sure that this right knee stays pointing down, right? You don't want this right knee coming out to the side. So whatever you do, fold only so far as you can keep this right knee in control. All right. So if you're holding on to something, keep holding on to it. If not, choose your focal point. Inhale, lift the left arm. And on your exhale, start to hinge forward at the hips, kicking the back foot into the back hand. We're going to be here for a little bit, so if you wobble out, come on back in. Really weight of the chest and the heart once more. Shine out towards the front of the mat. And then slowly with control, come back up to a stand. Release that right foot and shake out the left leg. A little hokey pokey. All right. Let's grab dancer on the other side. So if you're balancing with something, move it to your right side. If you're using the wall to balance, just turn around so the wall's on your right. All right. Once more, putting as much weight as possible into our right foot. Bending the left knee so that the heel comes off the mat. We can stay right here. We don't have to lift it. This is a great way to do dancer, right? If you do want a little bit of a challenge, though, pick your focal point. Hang on to whatever you're hanging on to on the right, even if it's just an imaginary chair. Left hand out to your left, like you're about to hold something really important. And then bend that left knee. Grab that left foot. Make sure left knee stays pointing down at all times and that hip does not come out to the left, all right? Inhale, raise your right hand. And exhale, start to kick the back foot into the back hand, hinging forward at your hips. Leading with the heart into your dancer balance. Couple more breaths, so if you wobble out, you can come back into it. And then slowly, gently, with control, woo, come all the way back, shake out that right leg, shake out that left leg. All right, you did it, we did it. Okay, we're gonna come all the way down to the mat. We're gonna come down onto our belly. I don't have a fancy transition for it, so just make your way all the way down into your belly under that. Our last little back bendy sort of thing is going to be a locust pose. So tops of the feet are on the mat. We're going to bring arms long down by our sides, palms face us. And what we're going to be doing is lifting everything, arms, legs, chest, head. We're going to be lifting everything away from the mat. So we're just pressing the pelvis into the mat, all right? So when you're ready, inhale, lift everything away. Now, keep looking down at the front of your mat. We want the backs of our necks to be long here. We want to rotate, externally rotate those thighs so that the outsides of the thighs are rolling towards the mat and the insides of the thighs are rolling up towards the ceiling. Good. One last inhale, and then exhale, set everything down, rest one cheek on the mat. We're going to take another one in just a moment. All right, and then let's set up for our next one. Now, if you have a little bit more room in the shoulders on this one, when we come up, you can clasp the hands behind you. All right, when you're ready, inhale, lift the legs, lift the arms, lift the head and the chest. Clasp the hands behind you if you have that room in your shoulders, and pull the hands towards the toes, locust pose. Try and take one more inhale, try and draw everything away from the mat. And then exhale, gently release, set it down, bring the other cheek to the mat. Nicely done. All right. Now, you can keep hanging out where you are for a second, but just look up at your screen so you can see me. I'm going to demo this next thing that we're going to do. We are going to come onto our side. And I want you to, when you do eventually do this in just a second, I want you to come down so that your right side is facing the front of your mat. So we're basically going to be rolling along the length of our mat. So when you eventually lie on your right at the top of your mat, we're going to stack our legs, we're going to stack our arms so that if I could see you from above, it would look like I were sitting in a chair with my arms out for some reason. So what we're going to be doing is on our inhale, we're going to lift that left arm and left leg. And then at the top of our inhale, we're going to be open to the ceiling. And as we exhale, we're going to start to roll in the other direction. So left arm, left leg comes down, and then right arm, right leg follows it. On our next inhale, we open up the right side. Top of the inhale, we're open. And then we close. All right? Okay. So come onto your right side so that you're facing the front of the mat and you're up kind of near the top of the mat. If you're like me and you have a ponytail in, you might want to loosen it or something just in case that gets in your way with rolling. All right. So stack everything up, arms, legs. We're going to do 3 complete rounds. And people often get a little bit self-conscious about this one, especially when we're all in a class together. But here you're in the privacy of your own home. So you're just going to roll around by yourself and it's going to be great and feel wonderful on your spine. All right, so when you're ready, inhale, left side opens, open to the ceiling, and exhale, roll over to the left side and close. Inhale, open the right side. Exhale, close the left. Nice, 2 more rounds. Inhale, open the left side. Close your eyes here too if you want. It feels nice. Exhale, close. Inhale, open the right side. Keeping the knees bent. And exhale, close. 1 last complete round. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. And last time, last side. Inhale, open. Exhale. It feels nice on the spine, but honestly, sometimes that one is just fun to do. All right, come onto your back. So reset yourself on your mat however you need to. Come on down to your back, bend the knees so that the soles of the feet are on the mat. And then hug both knees into your chest. You take a little rock. Our last rocking wasn't enough for you. Good deal. All right, cross the left ankle on top of the right thigh. We're going to take a reclined pigeon. So thread the hands through the hole, clasp them behind the right thigh. Make sure your left foot is flexed, toes pointing back towards the knee. And on your next exhale, gently pull the knees in towards the chest. We're feeling a nice stretch on the outside of the left hip, left glutes. Good. Now we're going to keep the legs exactly the same, that cross in the leg. All I want you to do is release your hands and bring that right foot down to the mat. Bring your arms out to a T. Inhale where you are. And then on your exhale, drop the legs to the right so that left sole of the foot comes to the mat and look out over the left palm. We're just turning that reclined pigeon into a reclined twist. If there's a different twist that you prefer, if you want to cross legs on top of each other or stack the legs, go for it. It's your practice. And when you're ready, go ahead and bring the head back center. Bring the knees back center. Uncross that left leg. And then recenter yourself on your mat however you need to in case you shift it. And bend both knees and hug them into the chest. And then we'll take the other side. So crossing right ankle on top of left thigh, right toes flexed, clasping behind the left thigh, or left shin if you need a little bit more stretch. Inhale where you are. Exhale, gently hugging. You might find that maybe one side needs a little bit more, a little bit less intensity than the other one. And then unclasping the hands, keeping the leg crossed, just bring that left foot down to the mat. Bring the arms out to a T. And then on your next exhale, drop the legs over to the left and look right. And when you're ready, bring the head back center. Bring the legs back center. Give them one last hug in to the chest, maybe one last rock. And then rolling all the way over onto one side. Use your hands to push yourself up to a seated position. Bring the legs long, flex the feet. Inhale the arms up by the ears. Exhale, fold forward. Just taking one last stretch before we head into our sit. Good. One last deep inhale here. And then exhale, gently release. So I see that we just have a couple of minutes left. So I'd like to give you the choice at this point to finish up class tonight with a brief sit with me. And then you can take a Shavasana rest pose on your own after we're done. Or I invite you to just lie all the way back into Shavasana now. So if you would prefer to end class with a traditional rest pose, take a second, move all the way onto your back. Hands out to your sides. Just take a second to get comfy and release everything down. If you would prefer to take a sit, go ahead and come into your comfortable sit, whatever that means for you. Maybe roll up the back of your mat or grab a cushion to sit on. And right away, let's sit tall. So pulling the waist out of the hips, pulling the rib cage out of the waist, the gaze straight ahead. Eyes are soft, shoulders are loose, and the belly is full and easy. And I invite you in this sit to make your breath the object of your awareness. So you can Do that a couple of ways. On your inhale, as you feel the belly rising, you can think to yourself, rising. On your exhale, as the belly falls, you can think falling. Maybe just focus on the sensation of the breath as it comes in cool through the nose and leaves warm through the nose on your exhale. Wherever you've decided to be, relaxing back in your rest pose or sitting up into your meditation, focusing on the breath. Taking a few minutes here. The stillness at the end of our practice is just as essential as the movement throughout. So I really advise you not to short yourself this time for stillness. It's something we so rarely get. In our sit, if we find our minds start to wander, knowing that that is normal, bringing our attention back to the breath, taking rising in and falling out. You decided to lie back into your rest pose. Take a moment to start to bring movement back into the body, wiggling the fingers and toes, moving the head from side to side, turning it into bigger movements, circling the wrists and the ankles, and stretching the arms long overhead, stretching the toes. Roll over onto one side, and keeping your eyes closed, taking your time. Use your hands to push yourself back up to a seated position. And now, everyone go ahead and bring your hands, palms touching in front of the heart. Bow the head, drop the hands, and gently blink the eyes open. Come on back. Awesome. Thank you all so much for practicing with me this evening. I will look forward to practicing again with you in 2 weeks' time on August 13th. Stay safe, stay well, stay healthy, everybody, and I'll see you next time.